This Coast to Coast Entertainment Network program is brought to you by Beside Me Bracelets. Our bracelets are handmade for any occasion. Use the promo code Coast to Coast for 15% off. Visit their website at besideme.com. Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry. With 24-hour shopping available, use the code 160920 and show her some love, like she showed us. Reaper Apparel Company, a commitment to live your most authentic way every single day. Visit reaperapparelco.com for more information and a look at all of their apparel offerings. And by Good Day Embroidery, your local source for custom embroidery, screen printing, and more. Log on to gooddayembroidery.com for more information.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new edition of On Deck here on Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. Please like, follow, subscribe, comment on our shows here. We've got so much going on. Just like the bottom line says, if you have a question, a comment, or a take, drop it in the live chat box, and we'll read it on there on Facebook and on YouTube here. We'll be going over the passing of Fernando Valenzuela, and then we'll be previewing, predicting, and answering some questions about the upcoming World Series coming up between the Yankees and the Dodgers. What everybody wanted. That weren't, us, I guess, but what MLB needed. With me is Crispy Bacon, and Chris, how are you doing this evening?
I'm good. Like you said, it's probably the matchup that many fans did not want, but it's the matchup that MLB probably wanted to save what many people think it's a dying sport.
Yeah, and like I mentioned, I think on other shows, if this matchup doesn't draw in people, and baseball's got a horrible problem getting in those younger crowds, the influencers and all that. Like, yep. You got to bring them in somehow to the games, even though they don't know anything about it. You got to make them want to be there. But the game, it's you have to be there the whole time. You can't be, away from it basically and come back. We'll get to the schedule another time, but all week long there's shows here on C2C, even ones that I forget. So yeah, let's talk about the passing of Fernando Valenzuela. He was a Dodger pitcher, of course. Came up in 1980. He was born in Navojoya, Mexico, Sonoran Desert there, and found by a Dodger scout. And they brought him up in 1980. He did really well for a Dodger team that just missed out going to the playoffs. Then the next year is where he was awesome. He won his first 8 starts. In 1981, he went 13-7. He won the Rookie of the Year easily. A Cy Young Award winner back in 1986. I'm sorry, no, in 1981 that year. And he also was 5th in MVP voting. He was an all-star for 6 straight years, 81 through 86. He ended up pitching 11 years with the Dodgers, 3 with the Padres, 1 with the Phillies, 1 with the Cardinals, 1 with the California Angels, and 1 with Baltimore. His total record was 173 wins, 153 losses. ERA career total was 5.4. And he was just a spark that a team and a region needed in Los Angeles. There's a story about, the way that Dodger Stadium came about. And I don't know if you ever heard of this, but
Yeah.
there were citizens of LA in the land where the Dodger owner from a helicopter wanted that stadium to be. And he said, I want the stadium there, but it had residents already on it. And most of them were Mexican American. So they were forced from their homes, late 50s, and then the stadium was put in. And for a while, you know, the Dodgers and the Mexican folks in LA were not at good terms because of that. Then here came this young Fernando Valenzuela from Mexico and got people back to liking the Dodgers, you know, as Mexican Americans did. Come back to the game, come back to Dodger Stadium, come back to the area, and they felt that pride. Now all you see is, you know, Mexican Dodger fans all over the place. And part of that was because of Fernando Valenzuela. His number was retired despite not being a Hall of Famer, the number 34 for the Dodgers. And he passed away at the age of 63 a couple of days ago. November 1st is his birthday coming up, so he was just missing that. That's the problem. Is like, man, I remember playing a softball game with a friend, and this daughter of this dad was wearing a Fernando Valenzuela jersey, and I was asking her. I said, "Yeah, how do you think he's doing?" Because he looked very skinny. He didn't look like himself.
Right.
And it came out to be what it was, where he died of that. So it was just really unfortunate. The Dodgers, by the way, will be wearing a patch on their heart, on their jersey, I should say, where it says Valenzuela and 34. Those long-time health issues, he had a battle with that. But Tuesday he passed away, and he was 1986 Gold Glove Award winner. He died October 22nd. But the issue is we don't know how he died. We just know that he just became really, really skinny, you know, where you see, you know, the veins and all that.
Right.
So, yeah, it's really unknown the way he did. But, yeah, he was such a legend. And I know that we have a video. I don't know if we want to play it now or not. If you have it. Yeah, let's play it now since it's here. It's a video of him getting the no-hitter versus the Cardinals in 1990. It's from YouTube.
The double play?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Let me get it up. Yeah.
This was from, I want to say, June 10th of 1990. He is later on in his career with the Dodgers. Then would be his final year with LA. But, you know, he was kind of a shell of himself up until then. This, again, would be his last year with the Dodgers, was 13-13. The team didn't really go anywhere the last 2 years. But it was one of these special nights because the rarest of things happened. Dave Stewart, earlier, of the Oakland A's, and he's been in the news, by the way, had a no-hitter, I believe, up in Toronto the same night. And then later on that night in LA, there was a no-hitter by Fernando Valenzuela. It's just the weirdest thing, but it was the most awesome thing back on this day in 1990. So yeah, we could play it whenever. It's and Vince Scully announcing it, by the way, just adds drama to it with the Dodger radio call. And I didn't want the 6-minute version. I wanted, you know, get right to the point of the of what happened. So yeah, whenever you want to play it, play it.
Okay, here we go.
There was a short chant, Pedro, Pedro, as they did in Boston in the '86 World Series to try and taunt Strawberry. And now they're doing it to Guerrero, hoping to distract him, hoping to upset him, hoping perhaps to make him try too hard. Fernando ready, and the strike two pitch is hit back to the box, dribbling to second. Samuel on the bag, throws to first, double play. Fernando Valenzuela has pitched a no-hitter at 10:17 in the evening of June the 29th, 1990. If you have a sombrero, throw it to the sky.
You see the emotion of him as he knows, hey, this might be the last one I have with LA. And the crowd going wild. By the way, did you see the ushers or the security guards right there in that video? They were wearing the old 1890 uniform and the hat. It was just because remember around that time, as we talk about Entertainment Hour tomorrow, the big movie of that time was Field of Dreams, and they had all those players back in the day come back to life in that field. So that's where it came from, and of course in Hollywood that was a big thing. So that was just one of the moments for Fernando with LA.
Now, didn't Fernando also play in the last ever play or World Series meeting between these two teams? I thought I heard
in 1981. Yeah. Back in 1981, and he had a big Game 3, which is on YouTube. Eventually, I'll watch it, but I remember MLB that night posted that game, and they had Fernando right in the thumbnail. So for all of you baseball fans and ones who want to know about Fernando, just know, he was a rookie that year, even though he came up the year before, only in September. Or not only in September, but only a few months. But to think about that, he was that Fernando Mania was just that huge for LA and for, again, the Mexican community of LA. And it was just a huge deal. And I knew he was sick. And again, I was telling whatever Dodger fan I could, I was like, man, I hope he makes it through. I hope he makes it through. And remember, this only comes, 3 weeks after Pete Rose died. So you're talking about two giants of the game passing away. So, Chris, I'll ask you real quick. What did you know about Fernando Valenzuela, and what have you learned lately?
Oh, man, I mean, it's sad because you don't want to lose anybody, but it's almost, I don't know how to put into words, but you have the series coming up. He was in the last ever World Series meeting up to this point between these two teams. I thought the name sounded familiar, but I didn't quite know, how much. But these baseball players are legends in their own right, whether they're in the Hall of Fame or not. They had a place in baseball, and the game of baseball hurts with this loss, and same thing with Pete Rose and anybody. So it hurts, and I feel like the Dodgers are going to play harder.
Oh yeah, and by the way, I forgot to mention this. He was the play-by-play analyst on Dodger Spanish radio for years, and he had to take off this season because of the issues. He was out in public, I think 2 months ago, I believe at a grocery store, taking a picture. Excuse me, everybody was wondering, why did he look the way he did?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was there with longtime Dodger Spanish broadcaster Jaime Jarrín. Just legends. When you talk about the Dodgers, there's just legends all over the damn place. Brooklyn, LA. It was so amazing. So yeah, Fernando. Oh, by the way, I don't know if you remember or know his pitching repertoire or motion. he would, before he threw, he would look up kind of at the heavens or the sky. I don't know why, but everybody started to emulate that in a way because they thought it was cool. And then he would
Mhm.
throw. There's a scene in Bull Durham where Susan Sarandon tells Tim Robbins, that young pitcher, out of all the other things, wearing pantyhose, focusing on whatever,
Yeah.
try that Fernando thing, look up and then throw. So I remember that
He's-
about the movie.
He's thinking, please let this land. Please let this land. Please let this land.
If you ever see Bull Durham, that is an awesome baseball movie. And it's right up there with Major League One for me, and that's just how much influence I think Fernando had on the baseball world. I got to ask some Padre fans how it was with Fernando being a Padre. He was an Angel just for a little bit back in 1991, but of course, I don't remember him. I was only probably like 1 or 2 at the time. Didn't even not know what baseball was. But the Dodgers, their fans definitely too, playing with heavy hearts and cheering with heavy hearts.
Yeah.
Kind of knowing how much he meant to the Dodgers and again the region. So those Dodgers will take on those Yankees. Game 1 tomorrow in the World Series at 5:08 p.m. First of all, I have to mention this. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 events going on in the LA area at almost at the same time. Okay, so check this out. In Inglewood, which is by the airport, there's 2 concerts that are taking place at the new Clippers home. And then at the old Laker home, there's a concert taking place. Then at SoFi Stadium, you're talking about Inglewood, there's a high school football game going on there. It's the East LA Classic. Okay, now going up to Dodger Stadium, there's a Laker game going on and a USC game going on at almost around the same time. 5 o'clock will be the Dodger game. I think 7 o'clock will be the Laker game, and then 8 o'clock will be the Trojan game.
Quick, one note: I'm watching the Rams game at SoFi Stadium, and I have it muted, but they're talking about Fernando.
That's how much it hit the how much he hit the LA, impacted the LA area. But yeah, all that going on at the same time. I don't know if they thought the Dodgers would make it. I mean, it was kind of a good chance, with Shohei Ohtani, of course. But all that going on at the same time, traffic is already bad on a Friday. You got Halloween parties going on. So leave early if you're in the area, definitely. Yeah. Game 1 will be Garrett Cole going for the Yankees. He's their ace. He's 1-0 in this postseason. Jack Flaherty will go for the Dodgers. He's 1-2 in this postseason. That's just I want to say a marquee pitching matchup. Thinking about it, would be Shohei if he starts, maybe next year. But Flaherty's kind of good, but Cole is just so dominant. And I think it's just going to be interesting to see how Cole does, or the Dodgers lineup does against Garrett Cole. That's going to be fun. Game 2 will be Carlos Rodon. He's 1-1 this year for the Yankees, will be the starter. And then Yoshinobu Yamamoto will go for the Yankees. For the Dodgers. And he's 1-0 this postseason. Then there's a day off.
Boo.
Monday, the Dodgers don't have a starter announced yet. That's how much they are scrambling for a starter, but they could have you've seen them have bullpen games when they clinched against the New York Mets. That was a bullpen game. And what was interesting to note, they had a starter or a closer start the game.
Wow.
totally reversed the whole.
Yeah.
I
But
don't
whatever works. Whatever
Right.
works. I mean,
So game 3, you might have a game like that for LA. The Yankees will throw out a pitcher who didn't pitch for a while, Clark Schmidt. He did pitch 2 games though this postseason. He's 0-4 in his last 7 games, and last time he had a real start was September 19th at Seattle for the Yankees. So Clark Schmidt will go in game 3 for the Yankees. And then let's just go through the rest of the schedule. Game 4 will be Tuesday of October 29th. And then if necessary, I say that as a joke because we know this won't be a sweep. It would be a surprise if it was a sweep. Game 5 will be... remember, it's 2-3-2, so 2 in LA to start. Then games 3 and 5 will be in New York, in the Bronx. Yankees hosting the Dodgers, of course. And then take Halloween off. Go do whatever you need to do. And then Friday and Saturday will be game 6 and 7 if we get to that point. So
that's
I
a
love.
scary thought.
So I do love how the schedule went just like that, where it'll go perfect with your Thanksgiving, with your Halloween plans. I'm already thinking about the gravy for Halloween. Yeah. So it's perfect the way the schedule is for all the dads out there that are remembering this matchup, because like you mentioned, with 1981, the last time the Dodgers and Yankees met, the Dodgers won, I believe, in 5 games, the World Series over the Yankees. But before that, 78, 77, the Yankees took those. Before that, 1963, the Dodgers swept the Yankees. Then you go back to 1956. In Game 7, Don Larson had his perfect game in Game 7 of the World Series for the Yankees to beat the Brooklyn Dodgers. Think about that, Chris. A perfect game in a Game 7 for the World Series. That's just unheard of.
No pressure.
Yeah. And it hasn't happened since, of course. 1955, the Brooklyn Dodgers finally defeated the Yankees. But before that, they met up a handful of times, and it was always the Yankees winning. And it was always in a row, it seemed like. It's almost like when the Celtics played the Lakers in the 60s and 50s, where they couldn't beat them. I mean, they lost so many in a row, so many all together, up until 1985. So LA has always had an issue with, Boston and New York, and you see why. Yankees and the Lakers, or the Dodgers and Lakers, always having issues with those teams. So historically, I believe the Yankees are 8-3 against. The Yankees are 8-3 against the Dodgers in the World Series. So this is the 12th matchup between these two. And not to mention, this is, the matchup of the 2 biggest media markets. So you have it all just right in front of you, whatever you want. Now, we'll see if the Dodgers struggle with the pitching injuries, but their bullpen has been tremendous, where you forget about certain pitchers that they had ready. But we'll see how Walker Buehler does. My question though is, you look at the bullpens of both. And I mentioned the Dodger bullpen coming on at the right time and doing so well. And again, without those starters, they've had to do some bullpen games. So even though both teams are well rested, the Dodgers bullpen has worked more than the Yankee bullpen. The Yankee bullpen just found 2 closers out of what they had. Luke Weaver, and then before that, Clay Holmes. And then Tim Hill, who's bounced around a lot, he's also done well for the Yankees. Now the Dodgers. They traded for Kopech from the White Sox. Think about that. Went from the lowest of lows to the highest of highs. Going from the White Sox to the Dodgers for Michael Kopech, became their closer. He throws triple digits. And then you have a plethora of other guys that will be there for the Dodgers in the bullpen who have really shined bright despite, again, all their injuries. I'll ask you, Chris, which bullpen will be better for the series? Will it be the Yankees or the Dodgers?
I mean, from what it sounds like, it'd be the Dodgers, but we all know that with any sport, including baseball, anything can happen on any day. Right now, it sounds like the Dodgers, bullpen is a little better, but it could be the Yankees that, surprise us. And I think that with both being a powerhouse media market, that neither team wants to lose this. Otherwise, their local media, I know here in Dallas, that they will chew you up. They will, they will take nothing for granted. And if there's something wrong, there's something wrong. So.
That's true. Yeah, it feels like, man, whoever loses is going to choke. You think for both managers, too. For Aaron Boone, who, kept missing the World Series and then finally getting to one. I mean, there were talks about him getting fired the last couple of years. And they finally went on to the World Series this year. And then for Dave Roberts, think about him. After winning the World Series in 2020, he lost it 2 years in a row in 2017 and 2018. And then in 21 to 23, they kept losing in the first round. Or they lost in the championship series in 21 over the Braves, but then the last 2 years they get surprised by the Padres and the Diamondbacks in the divisional series. You can blame injuries all you want, but I felt like Roberts was on his way out, especially if they don't win. If they didn't go this year, you kind of felt like with all the money they spent, that Dave Roberts would have been gone. But they made it. His job. I think both of these managers' jobs are safe. What do you think? Who? After hearing what I said, with Roberts already having one World Series, and then you have Aaron Boone, who hasn't had one yet, but he's always on the hot seat, and he's finally making the World Series. Who needs this World Series even more between Roberts and Aaron Boone?
I would say Boone. I mean, he hasn't been there. He hasn't won one. His team's come close, but fail. But you have the Dodgers, manager who, has won it, but have come close in the years where they made the championship round. I think it goes either way, but I would say Boone in that. I hope no one gets fired because you came close. You came short.
Yeah, I don't think anybody will get fired, but it was just it wasn't looking good for either of them after a while.
But it also depends on how badly, if you do lose.
If you get swept and if it's no contest.
Right.
And that would be something.
If it's like the other night when we were looking at the score and it's like 15 to 4 or something like that, then it's like you might get fired.
What game was that? Was it the Dodgers-Mets game?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
trying to remember
the college game, but you're doing the Texas game. And
was that New York? That was New York and Cleveland.
Yeah.
No. That
I don't remember.
5-2. It was 5-2. New York won. So they had some, clutch hitters, in that clincher for New York, for the Yankees in that series. The last series, the Yankees went 5 with Cleveland. The Dodgers went 6 with the Mets before both winning over New York, the Mets and the Guardians there. And also, let me mention this because we talked about the bullpens, but you talk about the bottoms of each lineup. And I had to go through and see the box scores for each lineup. Of course, you have the power of New York with Soto, Judge, and Stanton. Yeah, Chisholm home and maybe Rizzo and Torres. But at the bottom, you have Volpe, Aaron Wells, Verdugo, who's kind of been not doing as well in the postseason. Then you look at the Dodgers, and they're bottom of the lineup. And it's interesting to note how they ended that series. The contributions coming from Kike Hernandez, that pretty much came out of nowhere. Podges, Will Smith, and Chris Taylor. I'm looking at both lineups, but look, we're talking about the bottom, of course. Which one will do better? It just seems to me the Dodger lineup is just more bold, I think. The bottom of the lineup looks more bold than the Yankee one. Would you agree with that?
I would think so. It just depends on, how quick of a start these teams are before you get there.
Yeah, and we know the power of the lineups, right? With the top of them and middle. The Dodgers, of course, with the galaxy of stars against the Yankees here. The Dodgers, of course, with Shohei Ohtani leading off. Then you have Betts, then you have Freeman, then you have Tommy Edman, who's really came out of nowhere, and he was the NLCS MVP. I believe Judge was the MVP of the other one, maybe Soto. I can't remember. Maybe it was Stanton actually, but Stanton finally came up clutch there for the Yankees. Okay, fun two little things here, questions here before you get to prediction of the series. This is a national-wide question that keeps getting the same answer, and I hope you believe it. Go ahead.
I guess it's that map you posted.
I don't know if it's that, but the question, and I keep hearing only one host in America really wants to see it or think it's going to happen, but will Shohei Ohtani pitch in this series for the Dodgers, or will the risk be too much of a setback for him? Let's say he gets hurt, he hurts his elbow, and he can't hit, and he can't pitch all next year too, because he'll need another elbow surgery if something goes terribly wrong. But do you think they with all the Dodgers starting injuries, will Shohei Ohtani pitch in a game in this World Series? Do you think
at any point, or is it
at any point? It doesn't matter.
And how many pitchers do you have to face at least?
Well, each team carries either 12 or 13.
Right, but I mean, before you have to pull the guy.
Well, you could have your rotation any way you want it. As I mentioned with the Dodgers, they're clinching games or important games that they need to win. They've been putting in one pitcher each inning.
Okay. I was gonna say, how many pitchers do you have to go through before you can bring him back to the bench?
Well, the first two games, like I mentioned, with Flaherty and Yamamoto going for LA.
Yeah.
In those games, you're going to probably face 6 pitchers. But in the other games...
Okay, I'm sorry, batters. How many batters do you have?
Oh, batters. Well, they have that 3 minimum that you have to face.
Because I was going to say, if the lead is big enough,
then you don't need him.
Well, true. But it just depends, because you could put him out there for the 3 batter minimum and then take him out and say, hey, he pitched. We kind of have a sample of how he feels, and we'll go from there.
Would you imagine Game 7?
LA will go bonkers.
Yeah. Game 7 at LA. 9th inning. You already used Kopech. And or what do I want to say? Or Kopech has an injury of some sort, and he's supposed to close the ninth inning. Do you bring in Shohei? That would be something to close the World Series out and win a ring. To win the World Series, that would be something. I'm gonna say no, though. I don't think he's gonna start or pitch in this series. I think they'll wait till next year. You'll get a whole season of him. Not only being the best in the National League hitting, but maybe right up there with pitching, where he might have a high ERA, but the Dodgers will hit behind him. And you don't have to worry about run support like you did with the Angels, where you have to do every little thing and still lose.
But I feel like too, if you're a player that pitches and bats, I kind of feel like you're losing one of each position.
Yeah, especially if there's been a time with the Angels he was out and he couldn't hit or pitch,
right?
And it's like losing two players on your roster. Ugh, that was awful. So yeah, like I mentioned about the risk, the reward is not worth the risk to do that. I would think.
And that's why I thought you'd do it when you have the lead and there's no way to catch up.
Then it would be like, why the hell did you bring him in?
To see what you got for next year for 2025.
But don't even risk it where he's not available for 2025.
Well, that's why you do the 3-pitch minimum, 3-batter minimum.
3-batter minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just wait for spring training next year. So we were talking about Shohei Ohtani versus Aaron Judge. Do you have that picture you could find of that hat that has both name and numbers on them? Like, I think I sent you that earlier. I could describe what I'm talking about, as you find that picture. Okay, so there's a hat that I sent you, and I think it was in overseas somewhere, but I've seen it before, where it has Ohtani number 17 and then Judge 99 on the same hat. And it's basically, like a player's one. It's not doesn't have a team on it. But imagine, these two going at it, and there's a hat out there that you could wear both. That's just amazing to me to think about.
I'll bring it up.
Okay, so my mind here, I'm trying to think who needs it more. You look at Aaron Judge. This is the first time they've been. Look at that. See, I have Aaron Judge on one side and Shohei Ohtani on the other, and now they're going at it in the World Series. And it's just amazing to think somebody made this hat at the beginning of the year, and I don't think there's anything on the back other from the MLB logo, or maybe it's two other players on the other two sides of the hat. I don't know, but it's just weird now that they're both interlocked right here. And
I feel like
go ahead.
I feel like if you're a parent and you have, a kid, or you had a son, and you play, or you have brothers or siblings, and you're rooting for both teams, you wear something like that. I guarantee you the parents don't know each other here. But but I'm saying you would wear that kind of hat if.
Oh, yeah. So let's leave this up because these are the two main guys. Whenever MLB, postseason had the commercials for the postseason, you always saw these two in the highlight films, right?
Yeah.
In the reels. It was always Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani. Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani. Hoping, MLB was hoping that these two would meet each other in the World Series, and now it's happened. Okay, you look at Judge, first time in the World Series, has made the postseason so many different times.
Right.
Excuse me. Been to the ALCS 4 times, and finally the 4th time was a charm with New York. He's been around since 2016 for the Yankees. Shohei Ohtani, of course, just like Judge has won multiple MVPs, they're both going to win the National League and American League MVPs here. They used to fight for the MVP in the American League almost every year in the 2020s. It kept going back and forth with each other with the MVPs. And now that they're in different leagues, each can win it, and each will win it this season, at least for 2024. But you look at Shohei Ohtani, all the things he's done, pitcher, being a two-way player, being leading the league in home runs at 54, I think it was, and then stealing so many bases, being the first 50-50 guy ever, having hit so much success this year, being a Dodger, hitting for so many RBIs, finally getting away from that stench of the Angels where you're not even close to making the playoffs. And you go to the Dodgers and everybody loves the move, other from Angel fans. Just funny, I knew 2 years ago they should have traded him to the Dodgers.
No, the Angels fans like it because they're thinking, no more drama. That's probably.
I want to win. I don't care.
Well, I understand that, but I'm just saying, no more drama. Of is he going to play? Is he hurt? Is he this? Is he?
Well, that was basically only for the EBO for the pitching. Now, eventually, the Dodgers will have to find that out in a couple years, and I think eventually it'll be like, hey, are you going to hit full time or pitch full time? You can't choose both in a season. Eventually, that decision will have to come up for Shohei and the Dodgers. But right now, again, he's just hitting this year. So you look at Ohtani, the first time in the postseason, you make it to the World Series, he's the MVP of the NL. You look at Judge, and the first time he's made it to the World Series, he's a multiple, MVP guy, been to the playoffs multiple times. And you look at the popularity of both, of course, Shohei with the Asian crowd is so huge with Japan. Judge here stateside with the Yankees, the biggest organization ever in MLB. To me, though, I'm going to ask you this first. Who needs to win this more, Shohei or Aaron Judge?
Probably Judge. I would think most likely Judge.
But why do you think that? Just because they, finally made the World Series and he's been there a while. Why is that more than Shohei being his first time in the postseason?
Yeah, I can see that. It's a lot more pressure.
Yeah, being like the face of the MLB along with Judge, but more than Judge is Shohei. I mean, just the numbers he put up was ridiculous. I mean, Judge put up great numbers too. It's just that Ohtani stole all the bases. And, more jersey sales than anyone. Just ridiculous how much, going to the Dodgers makes that big of a difference. Imagine, though, if these two were on the Yankees together.
Ooh.
It wouldn't even been close. It wouldn't even been close. If Shohei really wanted to do that and not be afraid of the East Coast, how it's not close to Japan, that would have been something to have both of these guys on the same damn team. That'd be unfair, really. Okay, so you're saying Judge needs it more than Shohei, right?
Right.
I'll agree with you just on that because of how long Judge has been in the league since 2016. For Shohei was 2018. Again, both have home run records or, for different reasons. Aaron Judge, I believe, a couple of years ago, beat Shohei out for the American League MVP because he hit the most American League home runs in a season. I believe it was 62 or 3, and he did it actually in Texas a couple of years ago, where he had that record.
But then remember too, if we're going that route, Judge had a home run in Dallas or in Texas. Remember the fan caught it, and it was like a multi-millionaire. I don't know. It was some
Yeah,
record.
same thing with Shohei hitting his
Yeah.
50th home run.
Uh-huh.
There's a legal battle with that. The remember we had the video here on deck.
Yeah.
Where the chairs are flying everywhere and somebody ends up with the ball, and now that little kid, or not little kid, but this young idiot man was saying, "Oh yeah, I had the ball first, but it was taken away from me from the guy who eventually got it." So, of course, there's going to be litigation on that. So, like I said, both are really just, this is 1A, 1B of the MLB stars. That's how big this series is. And the attention of it just is through the roof. All that being said, who wins the series and in how many games? Chris, what do you think? What's your prediction?
I dislike both teams.
I know. Same.
I kind of want. Oh.
Can they both lose?
No, unfortunately, the numbers don't add up to that. I'm just kidding. I wish it was like a bet, 6 games, and I don't know, but something like that. Anyway, I'm gonna go. This hurts. I'm gonna go Dodgers and Shohei. I mean, both players need it for their career resume, so to speak. If Shohei wins it, he doesn't have to worry about his legal debts, so to speak. If Judge wins,
that monkey's off his back.
The monkey's on his back, and he most likely will be a Hall of Famer. I mean, they're both going to be Hall of Famers, but I think it'll be a shoo-in if Judge wins it. And same thing with if Shohei wins it too, with all of his accolades.
And the funny thing is that, Shohei, I have a card with Shohei Ohtani and Babe Ruth on it, on the same one. Ooh. And I'm trying to sell it for, so much money.
Keep it. It'll be worth a lot. Keep it.
Yeah. And I'm trying to think, if he wins this, he's right up there with Babe Ruth in a way, because those are like the only two-way players that you can think of, like full-time two-way players that there were. Granted, this year he hasn't pitched, but next year he will and has before. Maybe so he's right on that. He's right on that level of Yankee great, Babe Ruth.
Yeah, but maybe he won't pitch next year. Maybe he'll be like, I kind of like being a single-way, one-way player.
And that would be something if he just decide, oh, you know what? Even though you paid me $700 million and you expected me to be the number one starter, I think I'm going to be careful and just DH for you guys. And then the Dodgers are like, wait, whoa. No. This is not what we paid you for.
Right.
So, with all that being said, the 2024 World Series, and again, it's the Galaxy of Stars in LA, with Soto, Judge, and Stanton in the Yankee lineup. Then you have Betts, Freeman, and Shohei for the Dodgers. Man, right there, there's 6 stars. And then you add in Garrett Cole, the starter for New York, who will probably have 3 starts in this series if it goes that far.
Who has the series advantage? Like,
that's the tough part, because.
But I mean, like, who has the 4-game, 3-game, whatever?
The Dodgers took 2 out of 3 in the Bronx, I believe. Yeah. In June.
But yeah. I mean, how many games is it in LA versus for this year?
Oh, it's 2-3-2. Los Angeles 2. New York for 3, and then back in LA for 2.
And it's a 3-hour difference.
Yeah, but there's days off in between the travel, of course.
That's true.
And then you think about the weather. Still hot out here in California. In New York, it's bound to get colder, especially at night. It's going to get colder. To the point, Shohei will finally be in that really cold weather for the first time, I think, in a big stage like that.
I wanted to be LA in a way, but being as a 2-3-2, and most likely New York, in New York getting a 3. I feel like New York has this advantage because it's gonna be cooler weather. LA, playing in LA, it's comfortable weather. So
the thing is too, and before I get to my prediction, the Mets took split the series in LA, but the Dodgers still went to New York and took 2 out of 3. And they ended up winning back in LA. I feel like the same thing is going to happen in this series. I really do. I think LA is going to win in 6 back at home. And then finally, since 1988, the Dodgers will win a legit World Series, but finally get to party in LA. And that hasn't happened since 1963, where they've got to celebrate on their home field. Think about that. The Dodger wins, the other World Series wins were all on the road. 65 was in Minnesota, and then 81 was in New York. 88 was in Oakland, and then in your neck of the woods, 2020, that was done at the new Texas ballpark.
Yeah, and we get to share in it.
Yeah, I still want to go to that. I think that ballpark would be cool. So yeah,
nice.
LA, LA in 6 for me. Again, I would hope something happens where, well, no, I don't want to say that, but you know how the world stopped in 2020.
They did? I'm just kidding.
Anything to stop this series from happening. All right.
We don't need no more pandemic. We don't need more pandemic.
I guess not. Well, I'm just going to, if you could get one of the reels or the pictures up, I could just keep talking real quick before you get to one of those.
Yeah.
We get out of here. Yeah, hopefully it is a series to remember. It's not going to be like a 5-game series or sweep where it's just like one team has the advantage over the other. Hopefully it's one of these that will blow you away. These teams, of course, they score a lot of runs each game, almost each game, but there's been multiple times the Dodgers have won games by 8 or more runs against the Mets, and they did that one time, I think, against the Padres in that series, but they destroyed the Mets in most of their games that they won. So that's something to keep in mind. If you get the pitcher, if you can get to the pitcher, then the Dodgers will have the advantage. If you can get to the starting pitcher. The hell is this?
Okay, here's one I sent over.
Okay.
It's about a player that could get a ring no matter what.
Oh!
Baseball.
What's his name?
Yeah. We'll get to it here.
Who's getting a World Series ring, no matter who wins.
I'm playing both sides so that I always come out on top.
The Los Angeles Dodgers are facing off with the New York Yankees in the 2024 World Series. As long as you're on the team's roster during the season, you are eligible for a World Series ring if that team wins. Let me introduce you to Taylor Trammell. Taylor was drafted 35th overall by the Cincinnati Reds in the 2016 draft. In 2019, he was sent to the San Diego Padres in a 3-way trade that included Trevor Bauer and Yasiel Puig. If you play MLB The Show, you'll remember that he was on the Padres at some point because in 2020, they had a feature stars card for him in MLB The Show. Personally, I love the card. His minor league journey did not end there. He was sent to the Seattle Mariners, where he finally made his major league debut in 2021. He was roughly league average in 2022, but between that and an injury here or there, he never made a huge impact at the major league level. And right around opening day of 2024, the Mariners designated him for assignment. And this is where the ring chase begins. The Dodgers picked him up on April 2nd, and he had 6 at-bats with him in 5 games. And on April 16th, he was designated for assignment by the Dodgers. 2 days later, the Yankees picked him off waivers and added him to the Major League roster. He was used mainly to play defense, but he did have one at-bat where he singled, so he is batting 1,000 with the Yankees. Having played for both the Dodgers and the Yankees, he will now get a World Series ring no matter who wins. Did you know there's a baseball?
Isn't that
is
wild?
I heard that. I gotta send that over because that. Imagine
I was trying to
if that
remember
happened
that.
in football. Imagine if that happened in football. Okay, like, I'm trying to think who got traded earlier this week, but you go from one team to the next, and you're like, hey, you could be a
DeAndre
Super Bowl-
Hopkins.
Yeah, Hopkins. You could be Super Bowl champ no matter what.
Oh, he's going to be with the Chiefs. Yeah, there's no doubt
Well,
about
yeah.
that.
I mean, like, it would just be funny. That's cool.
I was thinking about one player who also had this happen to him. It was Benji Molina in 2010. I want to say he began the year with the Giants and it was traded to the Rangers. But remember, in that series, the Giants defeated the Rangers. But no matter what, he got the ring, even though he was on the losing team of the World Series. He got the World Series ring with the San Francisco Giants. It's just one of these weird things. I think it happens in the NBA too, or I know in NFL it doesn't happen because you have to be on that postseason playoff roster. You have to be on that in order to win.
Yeah, and it's still, not baffled, but surprises me where, I get the broadcasters, I get the teams, the staffs and all that. But like the janitors, the cooks, this and it's like they get a ring too. It's like, okay.
I think that's
I mean, it's fair.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I think our the colleague here at CTC, I think Callan McClurg has 7 rings. I want to say, working for the teams he has as a PA announcer. Think about that too.
So he's like the Brady of.
Pretty much 6 or 7, I can't remember, but he's our Brady on C2C. I can't remember if we had a couple more. I remember you sending me that.
Those are the ones I have. You send over the other ones,
right? I know I had one set about Aaron Judge.
Maybe this one.
I had the video about Fernando, but we played that earlier.
Yeah.
So that was good. Good timing.
Let's see. Maybe I'll have this one up. Hold on 1 second. Okay.
That's going to be a hell of a series again. New York, LA. Just the best of the best. All right. So, yeah, this is Aaron Judge's senior year in high school in Northern California, Linden High School. If you could stroll down a little bit to get all of his stats for football, baseball, and basketball. Look at that for Aaron Judge. In football, he was probably a tight end, knowing his height. But 54 receptions, 969 yards, and 17 touchdowns. In baseball, he hit 500, 7 home runs and 32 RBIs. In basketball, he averaged 18 points a game, let's just call it, and 13 rebounds a game, and he was all-state center in high school basketball. He could have been great in all 3, but probably he was too tall in football. And then in basketball, maybe he wasn't quick enough, but damn it, he averaged a double-double. But in baseball, you thought, man, no one is that tall, and he's hitting bombs into people's windows of houses and out of the baseball fields. So looking at this, man, it's amazing to think what he did. I know Joe Mauer has great numbers. I think it's shown up there in the comments, by the way. The first comment up there, I think Mauer had 41 passing touchdowns, 3,000 yards, He averaged 20 points a game in basketball, was All-State, probably a forward. And then in baseball, he hit 605 as an average, 15 home runs and 53 RBIs. For Joe Mauer, if that's right in the comments, Chris, I'm not sure. Yeah, that is Joe Mauer's senior year, probably right. The only one who rivals what Aaron Judge did, just based on bigger numbers there. That's amazing.
Judge played football as a wide receiver, and he was a center.
For basketball.
No, for football.
For football, he was a center.
And
Why?
a wide receiver. Oh, wait. Oh,
Center
he was a center in basketball.
Yeah.
And a wide receiver in football.
Okay.
And in his baseball career, he was a first baseman and pitcher.
Just think about that, man.
And who do you think his baseball favorite team was?
I think it was the A's growing up.
It was the Giants.
It was a Giant. Oh, okay. Yeah. I think the A's actually had him and either released him or traded him. Think about that. I might be wrong on that, but who knows? I don't know if we have another video or not, or
We
reelers.
don't. He was
Okay.
he was drafted by the Yankees.
Oh
Yeah,
no, okay, I was wrong. There was someone had a picture of him with the A's hat, and it threw me off. And then remember, I think it was 2 off seasons ago when all the free agent stuff was happening. This one insider named John Heyman had a tweet go out saying Arson Judge has agreed to go play with the San Francisco Giants. And it turned out that was all wrong. His name is Aaron, not Arson. And he stayed with the Yankees. And he didn't go anywhere else.
Okay.
I know there was one nervous night where Yankees had where they thought, oh no, we're going to lose him to the hometown Giants. But Aaron Judge was smart enough and, knowing that, oh yeah, I'm going to get paid and I'm going to get the endorsements of being a Yankee, lifetime Yankee. They're going to love me forever in New York. I could do no wrong.
It surprises me. It surprised me that, like Russell Wilson, yeah, he we know him for football, but that he was drafted by the Rangers in the baseball draft.
Kyler Murray, Oakland A's.
Yeah.
There's so many other guys like
besides
John
Cody
Elway.
Latham.
John Elway was drafted by the Yankees, but went to being a quarterback. Danny Ainge and Tom Brady were drafted by the Expos, I believe. I think Pat Mahomes was drafted by the
Royals, I think.
Yeah, yeah. All I know he's drafted by MLB, and that's just funny to think about how these star athletes in college and in high school, they end up going with the sure thing, and the amount of money that you're seeing with the contracts with MLB, it's like fathers are teaching their sons to play baseball, but to play other sports though.
Brandon Whedon.
Oh, that's right. He was a Yankee too, I want to say.
Yeah, but he played baseball majority of his career before he went to football.
That's right, until he was like 27 or something like that.
Yeah. He's like, Mom, Dad, I'm going back to college.
And he went to Oklahoma State, and that was weird because he was old.
He was old.
That's okay. That was him. All right, so enjoy the World Series if you can, and if you're someone like us, we're just gonna hate watch everything, but hope it's the most glamorous World Series of all time, where it goes 7, it goes extra innings, just like the 2016 World Series, where the curses were being lifted between Cleveland and the Cubs, but the Cubs ultimately won that Game 7. I hope we get something like that with this, where we just get, 9-8, 10-11, 10-9, 11-10. All the games are close, but they're shootouts. No, not blowouts. Hopefully, there are just mashing games.
20-19.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Something double digit, like 12-10 or something like that. Walk off. There was a game, I think it was either game 4 or 5 of the 2017 World Series between Houston and LA. Now, ultimately, the cheating scandal came out and the Astros were getting help from their staff.
Yeah.
But they ended up winning that game. But it was such a great back and forth game that it was considered one of the best games ever before all the scandals and cheating infractions came out. But it was one of the best games ever. And it was back and forth like that. So I'm hoping we get a game like that. But the pitching won't be as good, I think, in this series as that series. So we're going to get a lot of lopsided games, I feel like, but hopefully a lot of comebacks, I hope. But we both say Dodgers in 6?
Yeah, Dodgers in 6, yeah.
I feel like that's going to be the case. All right, Crispy Bacon, get us out here with some final thoughts.
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching and tuning in. We'll be back next week for our recap of what happened, throughout the World Series. If it had what?
It'll be in the off day next week. The Thursday will be, the off day of the
Halloween.
World Series, but it will be Halloween. But on Friday and Saturday, if it's game 6 or 7, we should be doing that game.
Yeah.
We should be doing a watch party of. Well, instead of on deck on we could do on deck on Thursday.
We could do like a special on deck
for Friday or Saturday. Yeah.
No, I mean like we do the watch along. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. For Friday, not this Friday, of course, but next Friday.
Right.
Could you imagine that?
Candy.
Oh my God.
That we bought probably.
Yeah, I haven't opened mine up, and I bought that almost a month ago. I feel like at the beginning of this month. But imagine that we have a clincher on one of those. We would on that Saturday if it goes 7. But imagine the Dodgers clinch or the Yankees clinch in Game 6, and we're doing that game.
Yeah.
That would be something. So look out for that. If the series goes long, if the series has a Game 6. We'll see you next Friday. But if the series
might be doing a double dose of on deck.
But if the series is over and by 5 games, next day we'll talk to you then on that Thursday on Halloween if the series is already over. Hopefully not. Hopefully we'll have a Friday or a Saturday to remember next week. Just be sure to like, follow, subscribe, Coast to Coast Entertainment Network here, and watch all the programs. Tomorrow will be Entertainment Hour. It will be a spooky one.
Ooh.
All Halloween themed. I'll have the script out, of course.
What is it? Top 10 Halloween songs?
Movie songs, whatever you can think of.
Okay.
And we're always looking for suggestions too from others. But yeah, anything Halloween we're gonna come out with. I haven't seen much, but I've heard songs, but I haven't seen many movies, and I know that's where you two come in to help us out with our top 10. And Randy will be here with the birthdays and his knowledge of Halloween stuff. So we'll see you tomorrow. Almost around the same time. Yeah, around the same time tomorrow. 8 p.m. Pacific time. 10 where Chris is. 11 Eastern. 9 Mountain. Hawaiian 5 p.m.
Ooh, you're covering all of it. All right.
I think my brother is in Hawaii sending me pictures of like the water and stuff. Like that bastard. All right, we'll see you next time on Deck. Hopefully, it'll be a watch party or it'll be a Halloween finale. We'll see what happens. Keep you spooked on that. Later, folks.